It's the final Sunday of, well, it's not the final Sunday, it's actually the only Sunday in week 17. The All-Star break fantasy matchup. It's done, it's dusted, it's in the books. Let's recap at 11 games, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I stole the cookie from the cookie jar. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free, we're available on all platforms, we are part of the number one sports podcast network, which is the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, today's show, I'm just going to get straight into talking about these games because after this finishes and after Sunday's games finish, I've got to go into all the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl leagues and set the playoff matchups, which is an annoying thing, but I've got to go do it. So that's what we're going to do. We're recapping Sunday. There are 11 games on. A lot of them were early in the day, which, for whatever reason, that's what they did. First game, let's talk it. Cavs, Thunder is that first game, and Oklahoma City wins at 121-113. The Cavs are basically fully healthy now, apart from Strus, who doesn't really count because he just hasn't been there all season, and I don't even know if he's coming back. But I think I want to start out with Jalen Tyson, who played just 16 minutes for 7 points on 28% shooting.
Get that garbage out of here!
He had been voodoo dolling his way all the way through, all season. 2-3 guys out, and then someone comes back and he shoots 70%. It still looks good. I think the bubble's burst. What we do know is that if 1 to 2 more guys go down, then we can go back to Tyson and use him, but at the moment, he's clogging up space. Evan Mobley only played 25 minutes here, Jarrett Allen only 29. They were fine in those minutes, you just want a little bit more playing time, but we got 23 minutes out of Keon Ellis. He is generating really good steal numbers, so if you need those categories, that's what he does, but we're not rostering him otherwise. And Schroeder played 22 minutes, 11, 4, and 7 with a 1-1. On the surface, that's a good line. That's a usable line. It's a line to consider, but I'm not considering. Well, I did consider it, and I said no. We're only doing that in deeper formats. Jimmy Harden had 20 and 5 with 9 assists. His usage is well down in Cleveland, although this was a better usage game. Well, Donnie Mitchell had 20 and 7 with 5 assists and 2 steals. Sam Merrill, numbers were pretty good here, but we know what this is. We know who he is. He's threes. 6 threes, 20 points, and then a combined 3 rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, all rebounds. That is not going to cut it. Because A, he won't play 29 minutes a night. B, he won't hit 6 threes a night. And the other stuff, the zeros in those other categories, that can be relatively consistent. So I don't believe that Merrill is a 12-team league player.
Get that garbage out of here!
Yeah, agree. Let's go to the Thunder side of this game because obviously they are a team with a bunch of injuries at the moment. No Shea, no AJ Mitchell, no Bronco Jalen Williams, and then Alex Caruso was also out. We also got a change at halftime where Isaiah Hartenstein came off the bench and Pig Williams started the second half. It didn't really matter for Hartenstein. He played 26 minutes. He had 13, 7, and 4, and he hit all of his shots. He didn't have any defensive numbers. He has been a very frustrating player this season through injuries and limitations. I do think that we still want to roster him. Isaiah Joe continues to play incredibly well. Now, again, I don't buy this because it is coming on the back of some stuff where you go, oh, well, that's not going to happen. And then it happens for 3 games. So he had 22 points with 6 threes, and he played 30 minutes. I guess what you could say is he's playing 30 minutes with Williams, Mitchell, Caruso, Gilgeous-Alexander out, which he is. So that's useful, and if they stay out, he's going to have to play that role. But he added a random 5 steals onto today's game. If you want to go for it, go for it. I don't see the long-term value, but we're also eschewing a lot of long-term value at this point, just in general, with the end of the season coming up. So you can ride it. My pony. Kaysen Wallace, the Hong Kong match, was 34 minutes, 20 points, 10 assists, 3 steals, one of his better games as well. And the reason he has value is steals usually, but also it's because there are those 4 players that I just mentioned who didn't play in this game. While Jared McCain is probably a little over-rostered, he had 10 points, but only 16 minutes for him. Lou Dort did, as you could expect, nothing. And Aaron Wiggins continues to have, I would say, a pretty disappointing season for Wiggo. Now, the Raptors, my Raptors, up against the Milwaukee Bucks. They win it very easily. 122 Toronto, 94 Milwaukee. The Bucks, interesting. Start with the Raptors. There was no Scotty Barnes here, personal reasons. I thought the last time we saw the Raptors, we saw Colin Murray-Boyles start over Jakob Poeltl. And Poeltl looked bad. Like, he just looked like the back was still bothering him. He looked timid, not aggressive, and non-mobile. Okay, well, Murray-Boyles might just start here for a little bit of time. But no. Poeltl was straight back into starting in this game. So he started one game, benched one game, started again, and he played 26 minutes. So Poeltl, it's not a brilliant line, but 6 and 8 with 2 steals with 75% shooting. You should immediately go, oh, okay. I don't know if it ramps from here. I don't know if he gets to 30 minutes. I don't know if he get like 12 points a game and a block a game. I got no idea. What I do feel okay about now is saying, okay, well, while Murray-Boyles might have some spikes, you don't have to hold. That is a clear Jack candidate.
Get that garbage out of here.
And I also believe that Sandro Mamukelashvili is a jack-off candidate.
Get that garbage out of here.
And this is where sometimes the message that I deliver or what I say can be confusing. Because you'll go, Sandro, Josh, he played 23 minutes, he had 15 and 4, he had 3 threes, he had 4 assists, 2 steals. And I know someone will say, I'll take that on my team every day. I'll take it. Yeah, you will, but you won't get it from him. Because we've always got to look at context. As I will say, one of the million things that I say is that if you add someone after a big game, you don't get the game. If you drop someone after they had either a bad game or a good game, it doesn't get taken away from you. It's still there. So Mamu was good. He shot 50% from the field. Love that for him. But Scotty Barnes was out. Right? So that meant that we had 35 minutes available at the 4 to spread between Murray-Boyles, Mamu. And Barnes is not injured. He's dealing with a personal matter. So he comes back and Mamu's the third string center and a 12-minute a night backup 4. And then you rely upon him to shoot 50% from the field. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't want to do that. And we can get preemptive with stuff. So yeah, it is, and it's a hard disconnect. Man, he was great. Bye. But I think that I'm not telling you. I don't tell you anything. I talk and you listen and act however you want on it. But the Mamu game, like that's fine. It happened, but you shouldn't just go, well, he was very good last game, so surely that means I have to hold. Not really. You don't have to. It's all contextual. Murray-Boyles, I should mention what he did. He played under 20 minutes. He had 8 and 4 with 2 steals, which again, like, it's not dreadful, but it's the way that the minutes just flipped back that makes me go, ooh, we don't like that. Quickly stepped up with Barnesy out, 32, 3 and 9. And Jamal Shed was also pretty good, 12, 6 and 6. We like the assists and steals streaming from Sheddy when one of those starters is out. The guy who did actually start was Gary Trent III. Jakob Poeltl. He had 9 points. He had 3 threes, and you would have streamed him in for steals, and you got 0, which is why steals are an annoying category. Walter is not a 12-team league guy, but also, I don't think RJ Barrett is.
Get that garbage out of here.
If you're in a category league, like, he gets so many of these games where the minutes just get dropped down. 27 minutes, 7 and 6, 3 assists and 2 steals. 25%. 20% actually. 2 and 10 shooting. What's he doing that's suggesting that we absolutely have to hold on to him? I would suggest the answer to that is nothing. At all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Shall we talk about the Bucks? Good idea. Good idea, Josh. Yanni's still out. Return this week? No, absolutely no idea. Kevin Porter Jr., one of the weirder players this season. I drafted him, when I say everywhere, like I think 80% of my leagues. Got hurt immediately. I held on to him in all of my leagues. He came back, he cooked, he got injured again. People have dropped him inopportune times twice this season, and he's come back. And again, I hate the guy as a player. I think he's bad. I don't like him. But the numbers are ridiculous. 21, 2 and 10 with 3 steals on 73%. Ryan Rollins, I've also got in like 80% of my leagues. 21 and 9 with 4 threes and a steal and a block. Big numbers from both of those guys. And Miles Turner returned here. And he was not awesome, but 14-4, 2 threes, 2 blocks is fine. What we wanted to see was what Cam Thomas would do, because he's had 2 games where he's had 40 plus usage and 70 true shooting. And this game, again, it is the Cam Thomas special. He's only playing 20 minutes, 21 here. He had 15 points, which is, again, it's fine. It looks like a good number, 15. It's a number with double digits. But remember, in a 12-team category league, that's below average. And he doesn't do anything else. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, no steals, no blocks. the usage came way down, and he didn't hit every shot in the world. So, if you can pick the game that Cam Thomas is going to go 72 shooting on 45 usage, absolutely, I love that for you. You probably want to use those powers for something a bit better than playing Cam Thomas. But overall, you're a 20-minute-a-night player who does nothing apart from score, and we need absolute outlier numbers to make it look good. That's just not for me. With Turner back, Bob Portis went back and played 18 minutes. I talked about him on the waiver wire show earlier today, saying the minutes have been all over the place, but I do think that the recent spike had been Turner's absence, and yes, 18 minutes for him, 6-7. And Kyle Kuzma played only 18 minutes because he's bad. He had 3 and 4 away dropping both those guys, I think.
Get that garbage out of here.
I will probably never remember this, but next season when we get to the last game before the All-Star break and there's someone primed for a big game, I'm going to go, oh, who is going to Usman Jeng us? Because Usman Jeng had a huge game, the first game before the All-Star break, and I was inundated. That day, the day after. People talk about, wow, he's good, Usman Jeng. Look what we can expect. What a demon. Look at the numbers he's putting up. He looks awesome. Okay, you know, I've seen him play for 3.5 years. He's never done this ever. Because that is a stupid game, that game before the All-Star break. People added Jeng in so many leagues. He's over 40% rostered on Basketball Monsters advanced metric, which is 40% is 40% of 12-team leagues. Bro, what are you doing? No points in 15 minutes. And this is without Giannis back. Context is so important. Game before the break. No Giannis, no Rollins, no Turner. It was just, I didn't see any way it was going to continue. And it didn't. Big Boom AJ Green is still living rent-free in people's heads, apparently. I don't know why people are rostering him. 3-1. So, Jack.
Get that garbage out of here.
And speaking of living in someone's head, Jericho Sims and Glenn Rivers. 4-7 for Simsy, but he played 24 minutes for reasons that I don't really fully understand, but it keeps happening. So Glenn must really enjoy it. Today's episode, it's brought to you by Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That is right. Prize Picks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every diamond, every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. It's simple to play. You just look at stat projections. You go between 2 to 6 and you choose more or less on those stat projections. And if your picks are right, you cash in. Basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, plus features like early payouts, flex play. So you've got the options when games are happening. Easy to build your lineups around your favorite play. You can stack individual stats as well. Do it very fast, 60 seconds or so after you download the app, you can have a lineup in, and it's available in all 50 states. So download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. The code is LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Everydayer Club, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. The best of the best, the elite of the elite, ad-free audio podcasts, access to Locked On merch, it's all there. So, please tell me what are you waiting for? Go. Okay, that's 2 of the 11 games down. That means 9 to go. Brooklyn in Atlanta. The Hawks win, unsurprisingly, 115-103, but now there's even more confusion about what Brooklyn's doing. Do they consider the Hawks a good team? Because they played Michael Podcast Jr. 35 minutes. He had 18, 7, and 6. He shot 42%, and now I don't even know. He played it back-to-back before. Okay. What now? Are they not shutting him down? Are they not limited? I don't know. I don't know. And then we also saw Nick Claxton, who I thought was going to be out a while, and they literally said he's on a minutes limit. Claxton came in and played 31 minutes. He had 15, 8, and 5, and he hadn't even been doing that before his injury. So that meant that Day'Ron Sharpe played 17. Of course he did. But of course, to further muddy the waters, Sharpe had the best game he's had in the last week. 11 and 5, 2 steals and a block. Further making you go, what do you do? Now, 17 minutes of Sharpe, I'll tell you, is just not enough. It's not a 12-team value, as good as he can be. That's not enough. But now, is Claxton a 30-minute-a-night player? I really doubt that. But I'm also not going to put a ton of faith into Sharpe playing 25 consistently enough. So I think especially if you're on the shallower side, if you want to lean into a cut of Sharpe or a cut of Danny Wolf, who played only 18 minutes, had 5, 4, and 4. Because the path to Claxton not playing or being hurt and Porter sitting every second game, I'm confused with it now. What I'm not confused about is that Nolan Traore just continues to play big minutes. 35 minutes here. Now, we're a long way away from where he was like a top 60 player shooting 60% from the field a week ago. But he gets like the most minutes on this team almost every night at the moment. And they can switch this up at any point, but 35 minutes, 11, 1 and 5, 2 steals. That's okay. But then you look at it and go, well, he shot 50% from the line and 29% from the field. Like, just give me 43 from the field, hit 80% from your free throws, and then you're talking about 16, 1 and 5 with 2 steals, and we're actually on there. That's great. And I think I'm pretty confident that I just prefer him over Jakob Poeltl. Poeltl was fine, 13, 1 and 4, steal on a block, 28 minutes. He also played the last back-to-back, but was that because him and Porter played like 16 minutes in the first leg? I don't know. But I'm more into Traore than Poeltl. Not a lot else for this one. Noah Clowney had a better game, 12 and 5 with 2 steals, but I'm going to need to see a lot more than that to buy into re-adding Clowney. What about the Hawks? They made a change to the starting lineup. Number 1 overall pick, Zachary Rissochet, moved to the bench so that washed-up legend CJ McCollum could start. McCollum saw a couple of minutes extra, 32 minutes. He had 16, 8 and 4. He didn't shoot particularly well, which has always been a problem with him. But he continues to just do good stuff in Atlanta. I don't really get why they prioritize him, but whatever. They're doing it, so we adjust to it. Now, I don't need to come here and tell you you've got to jack off Zach Rissochet because none of you guys are holding on to Le Crayon. Are you?
Le Crayon.
You aren't. Are you? You're not. You're not holding him, are you? If you were holding him, accidentally, maybe just take the time now to drop Zachary Rissochet, who had 7 points in 20 minutes. Corey Kispert, they've figured out that, under no circumstances he a 24-minute-a-night player. He played 13 for 9 points, while the dustbuster Dyson Daniels had 7, 10, and 8. No, threes, of course, but he did have 3 steals. Jalen Johnson, 26 and 12. Alexander Walker, 17, 3 and 6 with 2 steals. But why am I telling you about this when the big story is Jock Landau, who many of you will look at and go, that's a good line, and I'll actually agree with you. I'll tell you, that is a good line. 17 and 6, steal, block, 3 threes. Bloody brilliant stuff from Landau. But like I just said with Day'Ron Sharpe, I am not, in a million years, trusting Jock Landau. Shout out to him being a legend. Yeah, outback bush tucker legend. He's probably from a city, I don't know. I don't trust him to score 17 points in 16 minutes. That's a stupid number to expect. Who does he think he is? Cam Thomas? What do you have? Bro had 34% usage. Yeah, okay, that's real. Like, he's a stashable guy, but only some of you can do that. Because if a Congo goes down, then he's in, but he's a backup. And while it's a good game, don't worry about it. Not your business. Keep it to yourself. Let's talk about the Nuggets and the Warriors. The Warriors did a very late scratch, and we saw both Big Chungus, Nikola Jokic, and David Adamon come out after the game and say, that late scratch really threw us off. We adjusted in the second half, but it might put us into a big hole early on. So either it did, or one of them thought it did, and they hyper-focused on it and got annoyed at the start of the game. I don't know. But they both brought that up. The scratch was, just so you know, Draymond Green was out and Al Horford started. We'll start with the Nuggets. Jokic, 35 and 20 with 12 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Bro, what is that? That's ridiculous. Okay, the big fella's back. The Headmaster had 21, 2, and 2. And let's go into some of these fringy guys now, because Christian Braun played 35 minutes. I do not believe in Christian Braun, as you are all well aware of this. But he is on an absolute heater streak. 64% shooting in this game, 18, 5, and 2 with 2 steals on 35 minutes. Now, again, Gordon and Watson will come back at some point, and Brown will be not even close to worth it, I don't think. But minutes are up. Usage is up. Efficiency's up. So he's adding it all together, which means that the bubble's going to burst louder than ever, but it's all cooking at the moment. I don't believe in him. I wouldn't have added him. But that was good. Cam Johnson also, he's been like atrocious, and he played a lot of minutes, 38 of them for 9 points. No defense, 14%. We just got to make tough calls now.
Get that garbage out of here.
This one's not tough. Why is Tim Hardaway rostered like in any 12-team league ever?
Get that garbage out of here.
8 points, the 250th ranked player over the last 2 weeks. Like, what the hell are you doing? Please drop him for the love of God. And then Julian Strouder. I talked about this, I think it was the waiver wire show earlier today, saying that been 50% or more shooting in 9 consecutive games. And I said, look, if it wasn't for that, then I don't think we feel good about it. He shot 29%. He had 6 points, played only 18 minutes. He did have a steal and a block. And him and Spencer Jones, their minutes seem to go back and forward. And even Bruce Brown, who played 29 here. That Bruce Brown, Hardaway, Jones, Strouder conglomerate means they're just going to sort of be munching on each other and eating away sustained or reliable value. Brown, 12 and 4, 3 steals. Very good. Put him in the stream mix. But none of those guys are must roster guys. Very clearly, I would hope. Golden State. No Draymond, no Steph, and then also no Porzingis. The illness they're calling it this time. Yeah, Potts is really working well for him, isn't it? Which is unfortunate, obviously. Their next set of games is a back-to-back, so is he going to miss both of those? I don't know anymore. But what it means is we're obviously holding Guy Santos El Helper. Santos had some foul trouble, but played 28 minutes, 17, 5, and 7 with a steal. His shooting is going to drop without question. He's hitting like everything, and he hit, and again, everything in this game. But I love what he's doing. Al Horford, this is just an unbelievable game. 22 points, 6 threes, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Bro, what are you going on about? But it is, again, contextual. The other two centers, Green and Porzingis, were both out. It is possible that they're both out the next game, but it is also possible that Horford doesn't play in the next game because it's the first of a back-to-back. Well, he's not playing both of them anyway. So before you rush to add Al Horford, just be aware of that. No Steph. So Pajemski was great. 37 minutes, 18, 15, and 9. He has been top 50 over the last 2 weeks. I don't think that he's going to be a hold when Curry returns, but when you got no Porzingis, no Draymond, Pat Spencer in foul trouble, yeah, he should be rostered. So should De'Anthony Melton, who had 20 and 4 with 5 steals and 2 threes. And I'm less interested in Moody, but he was great as well. 23, 7, and 5. Big numbers all around. Will Richard played a big role, but he is not consistently productive. 11 in 30 minutes for him with a steal. And Pat Spencer, like I said, had some foul trouble. He had 2 points in 19 minutes. I would try to hold on to Spence. You also get the Tuesday there the Warriors are playing that if you wanted to, so you could just sit him on your bench and give him a run on Wednesday. But also, again, this bloke is nowhere near good enough for you to like stress about and, I'm going to hold on to Pat. No, you can just find other options if you want to. He is not good enough to tie your roster down like that. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with NBA sweepstakes. How it works, you use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights and tickets, the whole experience. So you might be looking at the board, you're going, well, do I think the Nuggets can actually get into the NBA Finals? Can they knock off the Thunder? What about the Wolves, the Spurs? What about the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pistons, the Cavs? Bet whatever future it is you want, team or individual, using your profit boost, and you get entered into a chance to get a trip to the NBA Finals. So go to FanDuel.com to get started, use the profit boost on an NBA future, and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and don't forget to gamble responsibly. Today's episode is also brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax, yes, tax season is here. It doesn't have to take over your life. TurboTax makes it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online, handling everything from W-2s to self-employed forms, and they work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the app. It is a huge time saver and gives you real peace of mind knowing that an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file it by February the 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. I don't want to sit here and claim to be some sort of oracle that tells you everything. I know everything that happened and why it's now going to happen in the future or anything like that. So let's just start off this Pacers Mavericks game by me saying I don't know. I really try to get a grip as best as I can on patterns and coach thinking and all that sort of stuff. But sometimes stuff just happens where you go, all right, what do I know? I don't know what's going to happen. We'll talk about the Mavs. There was no Cooper Flag. I hope he's back soon. But that's basically the only guy that has to come back into this lineup. Just him. Chris Middleton played 30 minutes. Okay. Why? Okay. That's 2 in a row, though. 25, 7 and 7 with 3 threes. Does Unk still got it? No, he did shoot 73%. He shot 60% on threes. And he had to get the 30 minutes in place of Flag to get there. But bloody hell. That is very clearly rosterable. The problem's going to be is he's just going to sit back-to-backs, and if Flag plays, does he play 22 minutes again? Kidd, at least, to be fair, Jason Kidd told us this. He said, I'm probably going to start Chris Middleton at some point. Yeah, all right, Jason, no worries, mate. But I didn't think it'd be scoring 20 a night in 30 minutes. Okay, I'm interested. But this is where I go, I don't get it. Daniel Gafford, he was questionable heading into the game, but remember, he left the game before the All-Star break with ankle soreness when they were down by 40, and I thought, okay, that's garbage. They listed him questionable here. A week, 10 days later, all right, whatever. And then he played, but he played only 22 minutes, so Marvin Bagley could play 26. Do not tell me that a coach believes Marvin Bagley is a better player. Maybe. Now, Gafford's been, look, you know what? Let's make it official. Gafford's been on watch all season. It's not about injuries or minutes. He's just not good in the minutes that he plays compared to what he used to be. So he probably does need 26 a night now to actually be a must in 12s. And in the other games, there's been foul trouble or he left early or whatever it was. But if you're going to randomly sprinkle in a 21-minute a night game with none of those things happening, I'm worried. Now, people will look at Bagley and go, oh, 2 big double-digit numbers. That means great. He had 12 and 11. Which, again, it's a double-double. Okay. But it's just the same stuff with him. No threes, 1 assist, no blocks, bad free throws. The field goals were fine. For as much as he did cut into Gafford here, I don't think he's a must roster, like, at all. He's a double-double merchant. And even then a below-average scoring double-double merchant. Well below average. That's not for me. Max Christie returned. He was solid enough. He's a good stream option on the right day, 16 with 2 threes, and that meant that Tyus Jones, who for some reason started the last game, moved to the bench and played 12 minutes. He had 2 points. Speaking of washed watch, how many blokes on this team can I do that for, do you reckon? Jones has been bad for 3 years now. What I don't understand is why we just can't get 30 minutes of Brandon Williams. 15, 1 and 7, 2 steals and a block. Like, that's bloody in 21 minutes, bro. 22 minutes. That's unbelievable. Why do we have to just dick around with, oh, Tyus Jones will play and Middleton will play, and like, just play the bloke. What are we doing? But that's why I won't grab him, because as much as I believe in what he's doing talent-wise, the role and minutes are just not there. PJ played 37 minutes, 23 and 9. He has to be on all rosters. Well, Najee Marshall had some foul trouble, so don't overreact to that. 17, 2 and 2. He is also a must-roster player. Again, well, speaking of wash, Klay Thompson, let's give it the triple. 9 points, 3 threes for Klay the Stallion. What about on the Pacers team? Coming out of the break, their schedule was horrific. We were like, or I was like, oh, I don't know how much these guys are going to play against Washington, and Dallas. We basically nailed it in those 2 Washington games. But then against Dallas, Pascal Siakam returns, plays 29 minutes. Andrew Nembhard plays 30. Huh? And they push the Mavericks to the limit. 134-130 is the final score. Dallas wins. What? Why? Siakam had 30 and 8. Nembhard had 22 and 11 with 3 threes. Okay. Now what, though? I thought there was a chance they might king it and play the starters 24 minutes. But, like, what now? Jay Huff had been getting 22 and I played 26. He wasn't good. 9 and 1 with 3 blocks. 3 blocks are good. But, like, okay, there was no Neesmith. There was no Zubats. There was no McConnell. Talon Peter took the time off in this one. So Quentin Jackson played his 20 minutes. By the way, those like Jackson, Peter, and Thompson also didn't play. The two-way guys, they're going to sort of have to mix and match to keep their days correct. But like, I don't know now. What I do know is that I'm very closely keeping an eye on Kobe Brown, who had 15 and 7 with 3 threes. And if Siakam misses time, we stream him in. And Cam Jones looks a little bit like he's the dildo replacement. Hey, what's that? If Johnny Furphy was the dildo because he was the dick replacement at Kansas, what do you get if you're the dildo replacement? What would we call that? It's a good question. That's one for scholars to debate in future years. But Cam Jones looks like he's got that spot. 31 minutes, 10 points, 2 threes. 3 assists, 1 steal. Now, he does not have two-way contract restrictions because he's not on a two-way. meaning that they can just play him 30 minutes every night if they want. Now, there's a bunch of these other sort of spuds like Ben Shepherd around who could eat into that, but I don't know. I'm keeping a bit of a close eye on Jones for deeper formats. And if, like, say, Nembhard is out, I can see Jones just sneaking around a 12-teamer. Nembhard had 22 and 11 here, and Siakam had 30 and 8 with 3 assists, which I don't know if I said or not, but I'll repeat it. And I just don't know what they're going to do with them as we move forward here. Confusion reigns. So that was setting you up for the next one. The Hornets Wizards. The Hornets side, pretty easy. Charlotte, that is the final game of the suspensions for Bridges and Diabate. So the big sealant and Grant Williams got their final starts, I would guess. Kalkbrenner played 15 minutes. He had 6 and 9 with 3 blocks because he had an ankle sprain. He was available to return, but he didn't because the game was a blowout. They won 129-112, by the way. I know that a lot of you who have got Kalkbrenner, almost exclusively if you've got Kalkbrenner, you'd be like, oh, no, he was good enough. He might start still. And he might. No, he was really good. He might. But he also might not. And again, we're about sometimes having to take forward-thinking gambles. Do you want to wait until you find out that Kalkbrenner's not starting to drop him and then miss out streaming opportunities? You might. But you also might want to say, well, look, cool. If I miss out, I miss out, whatever. If I drop him, who cares? I'll get somebody else in, I'll stream through it. But the suspension for Diabate is over. So, Diabate is going to be in the mix. And if you want to get ahead of it, you could move on. And the same with Grant Williams, who was not good in this one, 5, 4, and 5 with 2 blocks, but it's not terrible because you got 5 assists and 2 blocks in a bad night. But Bridges is returning. So we can move. LaMelo was excellent here. 27 minutes for 37 points. Who's he think he is? Cam Thomas, 10 threes, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. The big Areola, Conconipple, 28 and 7 with 5 threes. And Brandon Miller, 22, 4 and 3 with 5 threes on big shooting numbers. Now it's against the Wizards, but it's just good to get some big numbers in. Most of the other stuff here, completely irrelevant. 17 minutes for PJ Hall. The 6 boards were good. 21 minutes for Trey Mann, but it doesn't matter. Kobe White out. Musa Diabate out. Miles Bridges out. No idea whether White plays the next game, but Bridges and Diabate will. So it's going to just squash a lot of stuff, and they're also not going to play the Wizards. So you don't get that little advantage. Now let's talk about this team. No Sarr, no Young, no Davis, no Justin Champagny, no Tristan Vukcevic. So I don't know if Vukcevic or Champagny are out long term. I've got no idea. Anthony Gill started at center. The Wizards said, let's get it on, Gilly. And he went, but he played 31 minutes. He had 8, 5, and 4. I will remind you this. There must be a competition in the NBA to who is the best vibes guy of all time. Because DeAndre Jordan, by the way, side note, why is DeAndre Jordan allowed to wear number 6? And I know that some of you said, Josh, because he was wearing number 6 before they banned number 6 in the league, so he could keep wearing it. Yeah, but he also didn't wear number 6. He's been wearing number 9 all season. And then before yesterday's game, he just changed to number 6. And I would think that if you've been grandfathered into a rule where you can wear number 6, when you sign with a new team, which he did, and wear number 9, I would assume you can't just go back to a number that's been retired league-wide. And why did you just switch in the middle of the season? This is completely irrelevant, of course. But what? Anyway, DeAndre Jordan, elite vibes guy. But he was at least good at one point. What the hell has Anthony Gill ever done? Why has he been in the league for 5 years? Coming across at age like 27. He's never been good. Why is he still here? Anyway, if Sarr is out and Vukcevic is out, he's literally their only center. So sure, like stream him in that spot. Maybe. And I'm just going to give you the hot tip on most of this other stuff. You can just jack all these blokes.
Get that garbage out of here.
That's a blanket jack. Trey Johnson played 19 minutes for 11 points. Yeah, he might be good at some point, but he's on a minutes limit. He needs 30 plus minutes because he's got a bad fantasy profile. And I don't think you want to wait for it. Bob Carrington, well, he's got a worse fantasy profile. He played 30 minutes. He had 6 points on 20% shooting. I'm not bothering with it. What about Keyshawn George? 18 minutes for 13 points. Stealing a block. We love what he did, but you don't know if he's going to play each game and then he plays under 20 minutes. Bye. If you just ignored the minutes column for Bilal Coulibaly, you'd say 17, 2 and 2 with 2 blocks and 3 threes is unbelievable stuff. And it is, very clearly. But how often is Bilal going to have 29 usage in 17 minutes as well as those defensive stats? Like, never. He's played good minutes all season and been useless. So I'm not buying it. Alondes Williams played the most minutes on the team. 10-day guy. I think he's got one game left on his contract. He had 8 and 8 with 2 threes, which is, again, he's been very good. He's streamable, but that is a very short-term answer. Will Riley, who played 2 minutes the other day, then 10 the other day, and then 31 here. Of course he did. 11, 6, and 4. And look, if he was playing 30 minutes a night, I'd be okay with it. Again, I think he's bad. But 31 minutes a night with decent usage is going to be good enough. But I can't trust that. While Sharif Cooper played only 22. He had 9 points. So, honestly, I can't... Look, maybe I would hold him to Vucevic. I don't know what's wrong with his hand and how long that's going to be out. But I don't think anybody else on this roster is a 12-team guy. Jaden Hardy had a random 16 points out of nowhere. Sick. What does that mean? It's almost impossible to roster any of these blokes, I would say. Let's look at the Celtics blowing out the Lakers. Payton Pritchard, I projected him incredibly highly this season, like top... I'm going to say, like, it may have been top 50. It could have been top 60, I don't know. And it didn't look good for a period of time, but this is a top 10 player over the last 2 weeks, and moving to the bench with Simons gone has been unbelievable. 30 points, 38 minutes, 6 threes, 8 assists. The shooting is going to drop. He shot 71% here. But the bench role, he is cooking. Part of the reason I projected him highly was that I didn't think that Jaylen Brown would be a 40% usage guy, and that Pritchard would play a lot of minutes, and the second part of that is correct. But he shot horribly. But now we split up the usage with Brown. He's moved to the bench. The shooting is coming around, and it is cook time for him, which is great. Jaylen Brown, 32, 8, and 7 with 3 steals. Bad efficiency, but the counting stats were there. And unfortunately, guys, we have to say it. We have to RIP. We have to do it to the GOAT. Nikola Vucevic.
Get that garbage out of here.
21 minutes for Vuce, 9 and 8. Now, I know that you all think that I irrationally hate Vuce and I've got something against him or whatever. Part of my thing with Vuce had always been, I do not think he is a very good real-life center. I do not know why the Bulls continue to prioritize him. I do not believe that he would be a 45% three-point shooter and be the best mid-range shooter in the NBA, which he was for the first 3.5 months of last season. And this season, I was like, last season also, they should have traded him, and we all know that the Bulls are idiots, and they didn't. But I said that there's a chance he ends up on another team, and if he goes to any other team that's not stupid, like the Bulls, or Bulls West, Sacramento, he could easily be a bench player. And the deficiencies in his game, Jonas Valanciunas style, will get found out absolutely immediately by a coach on a real team. That is why I would never buy into this. You got to take him in round 2, round 3. He's so good. You're all wrong on him. This is why. I'm not telling you that I was right on him last season because overall I was wrong. But this is why. 21 minutes for Vooch, 26 minutes for Neemias Queta. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to rush to add Queta because honestly, Vooch could play 28 next game. But if you're vacillating between 20 and 28, I need 32, man. You're not even close to it. Queta needs to sit minimum 24 to be a 12-teamer. And he hasn't done that either. But that was an interesting change. Slemmer Sammy Hauser is a stream-only guy, 7 points with 2 threes, while Shyman continues to start. I like Shyman as a player, but there's not enough for him to do here, 5, 2, and 2. We still don't really have any updates on Jason Tatum. It's all non-updates and cryptic nonsense. Who knows when he's coming back? Derek White, let's have a look. Did he shoot 40%? Of course he didn't. 39% from the field, 12, 5, and 8, steal and a block. Everything else about White this season has been unbelievable. But the shooting has been horrific all year. All year. Absolutely dreadful. But, there's things that he does that are very good, obviously. Not much else going on here. We've got 14 minutes from Will Gazar, and he had 4 points with a steal, but we're not bothering with rostering him. What about on the Lakers? Reeves, Doncic, LeBron, all available. LeBron had 20 and 4. Reeves had 15 and 7. And Luka had 25, 5 and 3. Look, all of them subpar for their standards, but whatever. Not their fault that they lost. I mean, it is a little bit, but they did enough. The problem is the supporting cast is like horrific. Marcus Smart, basically, he didn't foul out, but he 4 fouls in 22 minutes, was scoreless. We're jacking, obviously.
Get that garbage out of here.
Jakey Laravia, 4 points in 24 minutes.
Get that garbage out of here.
The Impitsu, Rui Hachimura. I feel like it's taken a little bit of time, and I've fought this battle for years. But people actually realize now that he's bad. He's not good at all. And he shouldn't be a fantasy relevant player or a real life relevant player. He's bad. And I want him to be good. He's not. Bye-bye. The question you're all going to have is, what do I do with DeAndre Ayton's bum ass? I know that. 25 minutes for DeAndre Ayton, 4 points. That is horrific. 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block. It's okay. Bad shooting. Only 25 minutes. With foul trouble. Would I drop him? I don't know. 250th over the last 2 weeks is very clearly brutal. Brutal. He's like around the top 100 for the season. I've got him projected around 120th. That's not great. But Jackson Hayes also got injured today. So are we going to get a lot of old mate Maxi Kleber, Jared Vanderbilt bar, Hachimura at center? I don't know. I think there is... This is going to sound stupid, but there's a reliability with Ayton where at least you know he's going to start. Will he be reliably good? No. Will he reliably play huge minutes? No. But he's going to reliably start. And with Hayes getting injured, I would probably try to hold him. But I also, I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to fight it. If you think he's gone, get rid of him. It still amazes me, though, that 16 NBA teams let Dalton Connect fall to pick 17 in the NBA draft. Just wild stuff. 3 minutes of garbage time for Connect, by the way. All right, the Sixers go into Minnesota and they smashed them. Both teams were missing their starting center, so I guess no real excuse either way there. 135 Philadelphia, 108 Minnesota. Andre Drummond got another start, and 2 games ago he was really good, and other games have been this is why we don't bother. 6 and 9 with a steal, while Adem Bona had 8 and 5. That's not good enough. You can stream in, but it's not reliable. Maxey was excellent. 35 minutes, 39 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I know it's trendy to hate Rudy Gobert, but when Rudy Gobert is not there, guards cook. They just can get into the paint whenever they want, and Gobert is still at least a top 3 defensive player in the NBA. VJ Edgecombe, the dominatrix, 24 and 7 with 6 threes and 2 steals. I never know what he's going to do. It's either one of the worst shooting nights you've ever seen, or it's something crazy like this. And then Oubre had 18 and 5 with 4 steals. But I guess the bigger question here is, or the biggest surprise performance is Quentin Grimes. Grimey has been horribly bad. And then he pops up a 19, 3 and 7 game with 5 threes on 58%. So let's dig into that. What's real about it? Well, there's a few things that aren't real. I'll tell you that much. He shot 63% on his threes. He had 7 assists. But also remember, Rudy Gobert did not play. And it enabled a lot of stuff to happen. They went incredibly small, the Wolves, because Naz Reid was also out. So, yes, Embiid out is an issue, but that's Paul George's not come back for a while. But we've also seen all of this, and Grimes has done nothing. So I'm not going to use this as a basis for Grimes is back. Because I just think there are too many things that are pushing against it here. But it was a very good game, and we obviously need to watch it. But it is further evidence to me that Don Barlow is not a 12-team guy.
Get that garbage out of here!
8, 3 and 3 in his 28 minutes. For the Wolves, like I said, Gobert was out, suspended on the, what do you call it? The flagrant? No, not the stinky ones. Flagrant fouls. He'll be back next game, that means. So it's a single game scenario. Naz Reid, also out with, her shoulder soreness. So most of what we see from the Wolves here doesn't really matter. We started Yohan Beringer. He lasted 2 minutes. He got 2 fouls. He ended up fouling out in 17 minutes. I think Beringer can be a solid starting center in the NBA. But he's incredibly young. And this was just didn't work out. 7 and 3 for him. Bad night. And then they just went small. And in the second half, they actually started Ayo Dosunmu over Beringer. Dosunmu still played his regular minutes. 28 minutes, 12, 5, and 4. And shot 50%, which again is fine. It's nowhere near must roster, by the way. Not even close to it. I know people will think that he is. That is nowhere close to must. It's fine to stream. It is not must. Well, DiVincenzo played only 28 again. 11, 6, and 3. And he's moving into a stage that's very similar to Dosunmu, where he's not a must roster player. Goose had 28 and 9, 2 steals and 2 blocks. Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels played a bit of center, 19 and 6 for him with 3 blocks. Good game. And Julius Randle also got into foul trouble. 18, 3, and 3. Overall, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Mike Conley was in the rotation. Terrence Shannon played. Old mate Rocco Zakarsky played 4 minutes. is not a lot to get out of this one because both Gobert and Reed could be back next game, and definitely Gobert will be back. So it changes a lot of this stuff. And, you're saying it's not going to get into foul trouble in the first 2 minutes. I'm going to guess, as I realized I didn't put the Wolves box score up. So I'll put it up for you now on YouTube, and you can peruse it while I just go through just a few other things. Bones Highland is still rostered in some 12 and 14 team leagues, and there's literally no reason for that. 3 points with 2 steals. But honestly, again, the Wolves games are usually incredibly boring from a fantasy point of view. And this one, even though you might think there's something there, the only interesting thing to me is the DiVincenzo Dosunmu scenario. And I think they're just both jackable. I mean, I still have DiVincenzo over Dosunmu, but I don't feel strongly about it. I don't feel strongly about either of them being 12-team guys. Really at all. All right, let's take a look at the Knicks and the Bulls. We're in Chicago. The Knicks win 105-99. The Knicks, as per usual, is not a lot to really talk about. 33 minutes for Josh the Hitman Hart. 11, 9, and 5. He's been a weird season. He started off really slowly, coming off the bench, limited minutes. His hand looked completely rooted. And we go, is this guy done? And then they started him. His minutes started to creep up. He looked awesome, and now he's an ankle injury, and he's come back from that, and he's bad again. I don't think that Josh Hart is a drop, but I don't know. The numbers at the moment are not good. And the minutes don't push up to the 38 a night, which is part of the reason we faded him hard on draft night. And just things that usage has disappeared. He's just not doing the same things. So for now, we hold. Townsy, 28 and 11, 32 minutes. The Vooch bump comes in again. 11 and 5 assists for Bridges with 2 steals and a block, who's been obviously very quiet, but that's a solid enough game. And Brunson was, a little disappointing. 37%, but 19, 5, and 9. Anunoby also very much down in the shooting since coming back after the All-Star break, and he was cooking before that. So if someone's worried or panicked and you're in a roto league and you want to trade, you go and get him. A lot of people do consider Jose Alvarado a 12-team league guy. They're wrong.
Get that garbage out of here.
He had 5 and 4 in 25 minutes and shot 25%, and you can just do a lot better than that. And while Mitchell Robinson was out, resting on the second night of a back-to-back, the Little Mermaid, Ariel Hukporti, had 4 and 5 with 2 steals and a block, and then you just move on from him. Now the Bulls. Okay, so, in Chicago, Anthony Simons is dealing with a wrist issue, and honestly, the way that they're speaking, and they are one of the worst liars in terms of injury reports that we see, it sounds like he's out for a long time. But I don't know. They said, he's out with a wrist sprain, and then he's getting an MRI, and maybe it could be worse. What does that mean? Did he lost his wrist? What's worse than a wrist sprain? I think that there's a misspeak in that they're saying a wrist sprain, hurt my wrist, versus, rip the shit out of the ligaments and we're cooked. So I think they're saying it might be nothing, but what if it's a grade 2 or 3? And the way that they're talking suggests to me he's going to miss time. I don't want to tell you immediately to drop Anthony Simons because for some God knows reason, I don't know why, he's been playing 31 minutes a night, but I do think he's going to be dropped because I think he's going to miss a lot of time here. So that means that out of all the guards they got at the deadline, 2 of them are now out long-term, Simons and Ivy. So you would think that means Colin Sexton, who randomly played 25 minutes, 30 minutes a night, would get a little bit of a bump. 12 minutes. So it's hard for me to be critical, considering that I've said, why are these idiots prioritizing Simons and Sexton? But why were they prioritizing Simons and Sexton and now not? It does tie into my theory again that those first 7 to 10 days after the All-Star break, you get these teams that go, one last try, and then they switch it up later on, and maybe the Bulls do that. Because we got Rob Dillingham playing 24 minutes. Now again, I'll be very clear on this. I don't think Dillingham's good at all. But he's under contract. He's young. This team's trash. Let's see if he can do something. I don't believe we're running to grab Dillingham in 12-team leagues. He had 8, 4 and 4 with 2 steals. Very low usage, but he played 24 minutes. So we just keep an eye on that. I'd also keep an eye on that Matas Bidelas played only 26, which is annoying. Both Trey Jones and Josh Giddey were limited to 24 minutes. Giddey was bad. 6, 3, and 5. Jones was bad. 6, 1, and 3. And I wonder how long they're going to be on minutes limits as we move forward here. I don't think we need to rush to add Trey Jones. It's very frustrating with Giddey, who started off the season very strongly. Had a couple of hamstring strains. The Bulls sold off everyone, and now he's bad again. We might get to a stage. We're not there. We're not even close to it. But this would have seemed inconceivable 5 weeks ago. But we might get to a stage where Giddey just becomes a drop. If they're going to sit him out every back-to-back and play him 24 minutes a night and he's got no confidence, he can't shoot, then you're not holding him. Because honestly, at the start of last season, when Giddey was playing 27 minutes a night, getting benched in every fourth quarter, he wasn't rosterable. So if anything like that develops, then we're in real trouble. Pat Williams played 28 minutes. No, we're just not doing it. He had 8 assists. That's a fluke. But I know you want to hear about the centers. Because Sticks, Jalen Smith, played on a back-to-back. He had 12 and 5 with 2 threes and a steal, which you go, that's pretty good. But he also left early with calf tightness. Now, again, calling something calf tightness means something because words mean something. Not to this idiot organization, but to most people, words mean something. And we also didn't see Smith pull up lame, grab his calf, or anything like that. So the problem is there's the lingering doubt. Did he restrain his calf for about the 4th time? Or did he just go, oh, feels a bit sore, I'm on a back-to-back, we're not going to push it. And it was legitimately just a bit of tightness on the back-to-back, let's play it safe. I have no idea. I don't know. Smith is so much better than the other centers from a fantasy perspective that I will be inclined to hold just to see. But also, I am waiting for the Bulls and someone in the Bulls organization or a beat reporter close to the Bulls to come out and say Jalen Smith has strained his calf 3 to 4 weeks. And then 10 minutes later, the Bulls come out and say Jalen Smith questionable tomorrow. That'll happen, but don't believe the team's published injury report. So, will I hold on to Smith? At least for today, yes. I know a lot of you will then go, well, that means we've got to go and grab Gershon Yabusele. He had a bit of a Marvin Bagley, 11 and 13. I believe he had I think it was at 7 and 6 in the first 5 minutes. He hit 3 threes, but also, again, we have a track record of this. We saw him start for a long period of time last season in Philadelphia. And guess what? He wasn't a 12-team must-roster player. He'll have some games that look really good. He'll have some ones that are really bad. And the overall, I guess, totality of it is going to make him someone that I just don't care to grab. You could, but I think you're going to have way better value just streaming through that spot. BDNR, 9 and 14. Don't do that. Don't grab him. But again, they'll have the occasional game where it goes, see, looks good, and then you'll ignore the bad one. And the other one will flip through. They're just not good enough to do it consistently, I don't think. As for Sexton, if we're playing 12 minutes a night, see you later.
Get that garbage out of here.
Hold Buzelis. Keep an eye on Dillingham. Don't worry about Jones yet. Hold Giddey. And let's watch the centers and watch Jalen Smith to see what on earth could possibly be going on. Now let's talk Portland and Phoenix. Portland 92. Phoenix 77. And that is a full-time score. 92 to 77. The Blazers. No Shaden Sharp still. But then they also lost Denny Avdia, who was questionable heading into the game with a back issue. And he lasted literally 2 minutes. Okay. He hurt his back in a car accident, then aggravated it during a game, and that was before the All-Star break. He pushed and played in the All-Star break and played his 3 minutes or whatever it was. The team is not really going anywhere, and I don't know what this means. I do know that I feel we talk about Giddey as well. The players who had the huge breakout second half of last season came into this season as really interesting fantasy sleepers who the community, I don't think, adjusted to enough. And they were great value on draft day, and it panned out perfectly. But now they're going to do Uno reverse on us and have a shit post-All-Star break due to injuries. And that's exactly what it's feeling like. I don't think... Denny was always benefited early this season from Drew Holiday being out and Jeremy Grant being out, so his usage went up, his assist rate went up, his minutes played 36 a night. And that had already started to decrease, and now he can't stick with his back. And that's a problem, obviously. He didn't even last 2 minutes. 59 seconds he lasted. What we saw, though, is Scoot Henderson played 30 minutes. So again, minutes restriction, done. And I know everyone was clamoring for him. 11, 4, and 6 on 29%. It is the old Scoot. And I hate that, because I want him to be good. But those first games were just, what's the term? Eyewash? I prefer bullshit, but they were eyewash. He was never an 80% two-point guy. He was never a guy that was tripling, quadrupling his free throw rate or 2.5 times his assist rate. He's not that guy, as much as I want him to be. So, there is an argument that you say, well, Denny out. Will he miss more games? Maybe. But like honestly, Shaedon Sharpe could literally just return next game. But maybe Scoot plays 39. Possible. Is it enough? I don't know. It might be. Getting 30 minutes with Denny out is definitely a path to being a 12-team guy, but you've seen the last 2 games that the early stuff was fake. Jeremy Grant, Denny Avdia out will help him. He also shot well. He did a little bit of the thing in this one. 23 points in 31 minutes on 69%. Well, Kamara had a pretty good game as well. 12-11, 2-3, steal a block. I would make sure I'm rostering him too. Klingon was awesome here. 23-12 after the loss by 60 last game with 4 blocks. And Matisse Thybulle is a steal streamer. We know this. And Vic Krejci usually is a 3 streamer. He gave us nothing. Drew was not very good here, but I think a relatively obvious must-roster player. And they won. And it feels like I'm being critical because a lot of the stuff was bad, but they won. They cooked the Suns. On Phoenix's side, it just keeps happening for Collin Gillespie. Grayson Allen was out, Dylan Brooks was out, Devin Booker was out, Jordan Goodwin was out. He will not have value if they all play. But they are all out at once now. 18, 3 and 3, 4 threes, Collin Gillespie. That's 4 guards out. Allen was likely back in the next one. Brooks is out for a month. I'd say Goodwin's out for a few weeks. Booker's out for a few more games at least. The good news is that Jalen Green played on the back-to-back. Only 22 minutes, but 13 and 3 with 3 steals. He is a must-roster player. Jamari Boye had 8, 2 and 3 with 2 steals. Again, the only one of these guards who's likely to come back next game is Allen. So Boye is going to play for deeper leagues. Royce O'Neal, bad, even though those guys were out, 0 points. And Ryan Dunn, who is going to get a lot of minutes in the upcoming weeks. I just don't think we need to bother with it. He shot 11%. He had 2 points. He had a steal and 6 rebounds. If you're in a deeper league, you're looking for defensive stats, sure, Ryan Dunn, stream him. I don't care about him in a 12-team league. I would add Royce O'Neal, even though this game was dreadful. And Amir Coffey, I don't think so. I think this team is just going to be a lot of Collin Gillespie, a shit ton of Jalen Green and Grayson Allen, and that's it. Mark Williams is really struggling. The back-to-back, they kept his minutes down. 6 and 5 in 15 minutes. I get the urge to drop him. I don't think I would, but we've got 2 games this week for Phoenix. So, if you need to make that call now. That's why, I'm not running to add Ryan Dunn. I'm not adding Royce O'Neal. I don't care about Jamari Boye. Jalen Green, I would. Yeah, that's an ad. Right? But they're 2 games this week. I think it's this week. It is this week, isn't it? Or is it next week? Just let me go to the video tape. And by that, I just mean let me have a look. 2 games for the Suns this week. They got another 2-game week starting the 23rd of March as well. So if you are in playoffs, Dunn, O'Neal, even Williams, that's very clear droppable territory for this week with all those guys out as well. Which is frustrating, clearly. All right, last game. Orlando Magic. They beat the Clippers on the road, 111-109 is the final score for your Orlando Magic. Big win for them, obviously. Well, maybe it's not obvious. Jalen Suggs was out again, so he missed both games of the back-to-back. Bro was absolutely flying, and then he cannot stay healthy. And it's becoming a very serious problem. What you do with him, you have to hold because he's that good, but who knows, man. I don't know if he's going to play the next game. It was one of the better Wendell Carter Jr. games we've seen, 15 and 14. I don't really trust it. He's streamable. He's 14-team viable, 200 deep league, but 12's probably not. Bano was great, 36 and 5 with 4 threes. He is absolutely flying at the moment. No Wagner, no Suggs. Means the numbers are up. That's very simple. Tristan Da Silva started. He's very mid. He's a deeper league guy, 13 with 3 threes. And the guy that thrived last game was Javon Carter. I was a bit confused. Why are they playing Javon Carter? He's bad. 0 points, 19 minutes, 4 assists. Thank you. I'm not completely going crazy. In a deeper league, there is some streamability there, but he's terrible. Mr. Black was also pretty rough here. 11 and 2 with 1 assist only. Bad shooting. He has these games where you go, that's the Black that was useless. But then he has a string of games where he goes, I shoot 70% with 4 steals. You go, okay, what am I doing here? It's undoubted that he is much improved this season. Yes, some of it has been injuries to others have helped, but he's been improved in himself. But then you get these little games where you go, really? where is he as we move forward? I'm not really sure about it. And prior to today, Paolo Banchero had been very good the last few games. Today, yeah, not as good. 16, 7, and 8 with no defense and shot 38%. But he hit his free throws at least. And again, you know my thing about Paolo. I've said it a million times. I'm not going to say it again. You're going to have to guess if you don't remember what it was. Clippers. Johnny Collins not in the concussion protocol, just dealing with a laceration and some stitches. So they went with Kobe Sanders. The Colonel did not play at all last game. He was out of the rotation. So, of course, he played 26 minutes as a starter. He did nothing, 7-2-2, so we don't add him. Derek Jones Jr. had been playing unbelievably well, and he did not play unbelievably well. 6-3-3 with stealing a block. The conundrum here is they play 2 times next week. If that is your playoffs, that is not a hold. If that is your playoffs, it's not a hold. If it's not your playoffs, I probably would hold, unless, again, when I say playoffs, I mean you're in the actual playoffs, or you're competing and then I've got to win to make the playoffs, because that's playoffs anyway. 2 games will not cut it, but hold for the week after. Brook Lopez continues to just be annoying. Last game, great. This game, 10-4 in 22 minutes, while Yannick Niederhauser played 26 minutes. And this was the minutes distribution that Ty Lue used when Zubats was injured during the season. And then Zubats got traded and Lue said, nah, it's 30 for Lopez. All right. This is why I don't believe that holding Brook Lopez or adding Brook Lopez or rostering Brook Lopez makes sense. So I'm jacking him.
Get that garbage out of here.
2 games next week, and this stuff can happen. Don't rush to add Conan Niederhauser either. He wasn't particularly good. 7 and 8 with 3 blocks. While Mathurin did his thing, 21, 8 and 5. Really good game from him. And he would be someone I would use in the 2... I'd probably hold him in the 2-game week. Kawhi was excellent. 37, 8 and 4 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. And there's not a lot else happening here. Jordan Miller was fine, but absolutely not worth an ad with only 2 games next week. That will do it. I'm not even going to do lines of the night because I've got to rush out of here because I've got to go set all of these playoff matchups for all of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Leagues. I think it's 1,000+ teams, and it's going to take me all night, and I don't want to be up till 4 a.m. Don't about the video, double bang it, leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.